Good afternoon. In a previous presentation, I spoke about drug trafficking and the emergence of drug cartels in Mexico over the past century. Today, I'm going to provide an overview of the Mexican government's current strategy to combat cartel activity, as well as provide data that will demonstrate that the government has thus far failed to contain illicit activities associated with criminal organizations, such as homicide. I have chosen Google Fusion Tables and the Fusion Tables layering wizard to make the visualizations. Fusion Tables is a Chrome app that can be easily downloaded and added to your Google Drive. The app allows you to upload data sets from CSV, KML, and spreadsheets and visualize the data using a variety of tools. You can also merge data sets together, just as we did in Tableau. I found the tool to be useful, though not nearly as robust as Tableau for visualizations or calculations. It definitely is not worth using for creating charts. This is the graphical user interface of Google Fusion Tables. I previously showed that Mexico has a serious problem with drug cartels. To make this visualization, I took crime statistics from the Secretariat of the Interior's website, placed them in a CSV file, and uploaded to Fusion Tables. I visualized the data by using a feature graph to show per capita crime rates. You can also add descriptions. So for each state that is dark, this signifies that it has a higher crime rate. The lighter the state, the less high its crime rate, or the lower its crime rate. Also, as I mentioned, if you click on a state, you can see its overall crime rate, as well as other rates of crime, such as kidnapping and intentional homicide. And you can do this for Chihuahua, Sonora, Coahuila, or any of the states that you wish. In addition to the feature graph, you can also change the visualization to a heat map, which would give an indication to regional problems with particular crimes. This feature is especially useful because you can easily toggle between different columns of data. Here is the overall crime rate, as you can see, but I can also change it to kidnapping, intentional homicide, highway robbery, and extortion. So this is an added feature of Fusion Tables that allows you to visualize your data in a different way that I think is useful, and especially for comparative purposes with regards to geography. This visualization represents the government's current strategy towards fighting cartels. There are approximately 50 municipalities in Mexico, or 2% of the country's total population, which when taken together account for 50% of cartel-related homicides. These municipalities tend to be where cartels have historically concentrated. The cartel's long-standing influence in these areas has corrupted local political bodies and police forces. Since local institutions are no longer reliable, the federal government has essentially fired municipal law enforcement officers and replaced them with federal military personnel to conduct law enforcement. So if you click on one of these dots, this is essentially a representation of one of those municipalities that has been deemed to be a high crime area and where the federal government has essentially looked to replace local police forces with military forces. If you overlay these municipalities with the overall crime rates for their respective states, you can see a strong correlation in crime level. The darker the state, the higher its crime rate. I made this visualization using Fusion Tables layering wizard, which allows you to layer several maps together and includes options to allow you to add a pull-down menu to change the map data if you have multiple categories. I feel that it's very useful, especially for this particular project with mapping out high crime municipalities within high crime states. In my final visualization, I decided to use Fusion Tables to chart the effectiveness of the government's strategy to use the military for policing. The municipality of Culiacan is representative of the strategy. In general, military forces have increased in the 50 municipalities that have the highest crime rates, but crime, particularly homicide, has not decreased, but actually increased in many areas. So this graph shows, for example, here the red line, the number of military personnel that have increased across various time periods in Culiacan, and that is representative of other municipalities. And here is the blue line, which is representative of homicides, which have actually increased over time as well. Based on the data information that I have presented today, it is my theory that in these 50 high-crime municipalities, there was a working relationship between cartels, the police, and government officials. And by removing corrupt police from that equation, existing agreements and criminal networks were interrupted, causing crime to rise. I hope you enjoyed my presentation today. Thank you very much.